this should be a very easy dinner. I don't know if I'm gonna need both jars, but this is our favorite spaghetti sauce. It's the tomato, basil, garlic pasta sauce. I have this family size of Cheese Lovers signature tortellini. And then I have some of the Great Value garlic Texas toast. I put that in the air fryer. I'm just gonna cook this with this, and that should be it on its own. I'll top it with some cheese, and that's gonna be it. Super easy. Yeah, that's what I'm all about. Easy, okay? And it's cool, not cool here. It's cold here for Florida. It's like 50 something. It's rainy, it's wet, it's gross. Greg just got home from work, so now I'm gonna start preparing dinner. And then we're gonna watch we have two Christmas movies we're trying to decide between. Either The Griswold's Christmas or Jingle All the Way. So I'm gonna let Greg decide, but I'm gonna go ahead and start putting this together. Oh, and because I know Greg likes meat in his food, I'm gonna take half of this rotisserie chicken. I'm gonna use half of it in this meal tonight because it's a good amount in there. So I'm gonna use half of it, and then I can use the other half in my other meal that when I do my other pasta tomorrow. So yeah. I might not even end up doing it tomorrow. We might actually do taco salads tomorrow. And then I might do chicken. So I might actually use this whole thing, as a matter of fact. Okay, yeah, I'm going to use the whole thing. Okay, that's what I've decided. Just like that. Because I only have 3 pieces of garlic bread, too. So, yeah. And this is Greg's bowl with his tortellini and the garlic bread. Easy peasy dinner. Q&A portion. I asked you guys in vlogs as well as on Instagram some questions you guys want to ask me, and I have a good amount of questions. So I did get a lot of the same questions asked multiple times. If you've been on my channel for a while, you probably know the answer to a lot of these. So I am gonna just kind of go down the list and answer some questions. So the first one is, what is your real name? So my name is Lindsay. That is my real name, Lindsay. Lindsey. Your age. A lady never tells. But I'm not a lady, so I'm 36. And there's another question that asked, when's my birthday and what is my sign? So I'm 36. My birthday is July 31st, the very last day of July, and I am a Leo. Let's see. I'm gonna mark them off as I ask, because sometimes they go with each other. So like I kind of wanted to make it, I don't know, a little organized. Do you have any siblings? I do. So I have a stepsister. She is a year younger than me. I also have a full-blooded biological sister. She is 6 years younger than me, and I have a half brother. So we have the same mom and different dads, and we are 18 years apart. So I do. And someone else asked, are you close with your family? So I'm close with some of my family, like my extended family, not really. I have one aunt that I'm really close to on my dad's side. I am really close with my dad and my stepmom, my stepsister, my nieces. Well, my nephew's a baby. He was just born, so I mean, no, we're not really close. My biological mom and I have chosen to not have a relationship with her. She's toxic, so we don't have a relationship. My brother, like my half brother, he's, 18. He kind of does his own thing. We're not really close, but I'm always here if he wants to talk. Let's see. I guess that's it. Like, I don't really have, all of my grandparents have passed away. All my other aunts and uncles I'm not really close with. So no, I'm not. So just some. I'm close with some and close with not others. I've been married for 6 months. Do you have any marriage advice? Well, since you've already done it, I guess my advice would be communication is really important. If you're gonna have trust or anything else, communication kind of has to come first. Communication is super important. You should be able to talk to your significant other about anything. And that is the kind of relationship that Greg and I have now. I will say in the in the very beginning of our relationship, even like before marriage, Greg would talk to me about things and I would react sometimes I would react really negatively, and that of course put him off and made him not want to tell me things because he didn't want to deal with how I was going to act. So I had to kind of work on that for me. But communication is just extremely important. Okay, since I'm talking about marriage, let me go to the next one. It says, what do you and Greg do for a living? So I deal with workers' comp insurance and Greg is in sales. We'll say that. Let's see. How did you and Greg meet? So Greg and I went to high school together. We hung out with the same people, but we were never friends or anything in high school. And then somewhere down the line, I'm assuming back then, you just kind of friend requested people who were suggested to you, maybe that went to the same high school as you. And he must have friend requested me and I must have accepted him, because one day I posted a thing on Facebook about what I had to eat, and I believe that day it was chitlins, macaroni and cheese, and collard greens, and he made a comment and was like, what do you know about that? And I was like, I know it's good. And that then he like messaged me, we kind of chatted back and forth. He asked for my phone number, I gave it to him, we talked on the phone that night for like 9 hours straight. And then we met up a couple days later. He was gonna be a one-night stand, like that was it. He was just gonna be a one-night stand, but it did not happen that way. And which leads me to my next question. How long have we been together? So we have been together for a total of 10 years. And this February coming up, February of 2022, we would have been married for 3. So, okay, what's next? Do you ever want kids, or did you ever want kids? I never wanted kids. It was never something that I thought I ever wanted. In the past, I was in a relationship prior to Greg. He wanted kids, and I think I kind of took that on, like I wanted to give him kids. But thank God that didn't happen. But no, I've never wanted children. Greg has never wanted kids. I do not regret that I cannot have children. I am not upset by that at all. And they asked, have you ever thought about adopting? Sure, I've thought about it. I would never want to adopt a baby or a small child. I have actually brought up the idea of maybe adopting a teenager. I thought about it for a split second, and then I really put some research and thought into it and quickly decided against it. I'm gonna say something that a lot of people should probably admit. There are a lot of people who should say what I'm gonna tell you, and that is, I am too selfish for kids. I admit it, and it's not a bad thing. You don't have to want kids. A woman's worth is not in wanting children. I'm too selfish for kids. I like to spend money on myself, vacations, trips, things that I want. If I want to walk into Best Buy and buy myself a brand new TV, I can. I don't have to think about paying something for someone else, if that makes sense. I think there are a lot of people who have children that are too selfish for children. I even have some in my family. If you know that story, you know. And they could have saved themselves a lot of trouble had they had recognized that they were too selfish for kids. So no. Someone else asked, do you want any more dogs or pets? Absolutely not. I love animals, don't get me wrong, but Axel and Billy are a handful. I'm good with that. The more dogs you have, the more expensive it is. And Billy is already expensive enough. He could probably cost like 3 dogs worth himself. So no more pets. But I love animals. I love them, but I don't want any more. Someone said, is it weird that I want to hop on a flight to Florida and go to Dollar Tree with you? No, it is not weird. As a matter of fact, come on down. I would love it. I would love to go to Dollar Tree. Yes. Let's see. How does Greg help you on bad days? And I just kind of jotted down these questions, so that wasn't her exact wording. Like when I'm having a bad day, and she was referencing like depression and anxiety. Greg helps by listening. Greg, Greg is a fix-it type of person, so a lot of the time before I start to tell him what's wrong, I kind of say, look, I just need to talk this out. Can you just listen? If I don't kind of give that disclaimer, sometimes it can lead to a frustrating conversation because Greg wants to make it better and sometimes you can't. But he's just there to listen, kind of be my sounding board to, sometimes it's just to hold me while I cry. Like that's it. I think it's important that if you struggle with mental health and you have a partner and maybe they don't seem as supportive, maybe it's not that they don't want to support you, maybe it's that they just don't know how to support you. And I've sent him articles and different videos to watch to try to help him learn because he's never dealt with that before. So he has read them and he's learned a lot too. So I would recommend doing that as well. Someone said, what did you want to be? What did you want to be when you were a kid? When I was growing up, I wanted to be a teacher. And that is what I always remember wanting to be, was a teacher. Do you prefer hot coffee, cold coffee, or no coffee at all? I prefer cold coffee or no coffee. That would be it. Like if I am going to have coffee, I would want it like an iced coffee. I do not enjoy hot coffee at all. Someone else also asked, do I like pineapple on pizza? So I will eat pineapple on pizza, but I would never like order it. It's not something I order, but if I'm hungry and it's on there, I'll eat it. I'm not a super picky eater, so yeah, I'm not a picky eater. There's not a whole lot of things that I don't like, if we're being honest. So yeah. Someone else asked me, why did I go off of my antidepressant if it was working? So in recent Vlogmas videos, I talked about not being on Prozac anymore. Today, I believe, is my 7th day off of it. And I stopped it because one of the side effects of a lot of SSRI antidepressants is urinary retention. And of course, some people don't feel it at all. Some people feel it a lot. Of course, I happen to be on the a lot end. So after a lot of research and dealing with pain, bladder pain for a few months, I kind of was at my wit's end and finally realized that it could be the Prozac. So I stopped taking the Prozac because I could not continue to deal with bladder pain that I was feeling. Axel just walked in front of it. So that's why I stopped, and now my bladder hardly ever hurts. And it's not all the way out of my system yet. It takes 25 to 30 days for Prozac to be out of your system, but, or fluoxetine is the generic name. So I definitely pretty confident that that was what was causing the problem. No kisses. And that's why I stopped it. What's my favorite thing about being on YouTube and what's my least favorite thing about being on YouTube? So I'll start with my favorite thing. My favorite thing is talking to you guys and making new friends and learning things. All that is the same thing for me, like talking to you guys all the time and becoming friends with you. I'm also learning things from you guys all the time. I absolutely love it. It is my most favorite thing about YouTube. My least favorite thing about YouTube, other than editing videos, because I really hate editing videos, is probably the trolls. I will say I'm to a point now where I do not get as many views on my channel as I used to, a couple years back. I think that has a lot to do with the dollar. Number one, it has a lot to do with the algorithm of YouTube, but also I've lost a lot of my consistency. So because of that, YouTube doesn't really put your videos out there if you're not as consistent. And also I've changed my channel some. I don't do Dollar Tree hauls 3 or 4 times a week like I used to. And so so I guess the good side of that is because I don't get as many views, I have less trolls, but the trolls are the worst part, the negative comments. I'd like to think that I have pretty thick skin. However, people on the internet, there's this weird braveness. Is that the word I'm looking for? There's this weird thing that happens. They feel like they can say whatever they want because they have the anonymity. I know how to say the word. Anonymity. Anonymous. Anonymity. Anonymity. I know the word. Because they get to be kind of anonymous on the internet. Anonymity. I don't even know if I'm saying the word right now. I know the word. You guys ever heard a word, you said it, and you're like, wait a minute, is that a real word? I know it's a word, but now I feel like I can't figure out how to say it. Anyways, they get to be anonymous on the internet. They feel like, you know, that they can say whatever they want. They say terrible things that they would never say to a human being in their face, ever. That's probably the absolute worst part of it, and editing videos. This was a question on Instagram, and it was kind of a long question, so I'm gonna kind of summarize it, but basically they asked me what has been my experience being in an interracial relationship in the South, and like how did our families and stuff react to that. So I've only dated black men. That's all I've ever dated. I've never had any issues with my parents. My parents have always been fine. My grandparents, only my grandfather was alive at the time, like, you know, that as I was older to meet a boyfriend. He was in his 70s. He never said anything rude to the guy I was dating at the time, but he made sure that I was aware that he did not approve of it, which I didn't care. And as far as Greg's family, he's not really close with a lot of his family. His mother and sister have passed away, but when they were alive, they were very accepting of it. They didn't mind. His dad, you know, he's not really close with his dad. I don't really know. I don't think his dad necessarily loves it, but he would never say anything. Have we dealt with people outside of our families that have had issues with interracial dating? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't really care. I think that's ignorance. And if someone ever says something where I can hear it, I will say something back. So, you know, and so would Greg. Okay, the last question is, do I have any goals for 2022? And yes, I do. I will be doing a video about that soon, but I do have some goals for 2022. I really want to get back on Weight Watchers. WW, I had stopped doing that. I was doing really well at it, but because of my mental health, I just wasn't in a place where I was able to be consistent, which also brings me to my overall goal of being more consistent in general across the board in my life. So I want to be more consistent on YouTube. I've done really well for Vlogmas. So I want to continue that. I mean, not a video every day. I'm going to tell you that's just never going to happen. I do not want to do that. Filming and editing something and getting it up every day, that's a lot. But I definitely want to be more consistent on YouTube, more consistent in my household, like getting things done, projects, finishing them, things like that. So I want to be more consistent. I also want to take time to focus on building the Lala's Land brand, not only here on YouTube, but building a brand outside of YouTube with, you know, growing a business idea that I have. So I really want to focus on that. Also, living my life to the absolute fullest. I have really focused on my mental and physical health the past few years, and it's always like in the forefront of my mind, and because of my anxiety, it really does consume me a lot, and I don't want it to be that way. I do not want to constantly worry and stress about those things. I want to enjoy time with my friends and my family and my husband, and I want to go on trips and I want to experience things. So I'm going to definitely do more of that, hopefully with all the craziness in the world allowing. So yeah, so that's it. That's all the questions that I have for this Q&A. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I am now going to, my camera's about to die, so I'm going to charge that, and I'm going to edit this, and I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my evening. I have to wrap some presents. I have to vlog for the Vlogmas tomorrow, so I'm gonna take care of all that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for asking your questions. I love y'all, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.